11 o'clock, we're in the Taco Terrace. The doors have officially opened here at Social Taco. Upstairs, we've got our Jocks listener Social Taco Tuesday Christmas get-together. B-Ham Dog is here. His Georgia Bulldogs fresh off of a win over the Alabama Crimson Tide. Speaking of the Tide, Nick Kelly, who covers Alabama for AL.com, just sitting down joining us for the last 30 minutes, kind of recapping what we saw in the regular season, the championship game, looking ahead, not only to Norman and potentially beyond, but also when it all does come to an end this season, what the transfer portal potentially could look like for Kalen DeBoer. You can find that there at jocksfm.com and the Three Man Front podcast. Expecting Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Vavakwa, to continue his media tour, making a statement. He will have a statement. It's expected to be sometime in this hour. We'll try to grab some of that audio and see if the anti-ACC, we've been wronged by our own, air quotes, conference, continues from Pete. How about our friends at Mandu? Holiday season is here. You're thinking about, what do I want to give a loved one, maybe a friend, myself? Well, give them the gift of health, fitness. Mandu is electrical muscle stimulation fitness, located conveniently in downtown Homewood. You go in, you put on a suit, they hook you up to a machine that sends electric pulses to various muscle groups, whatever you're trying to work on, whether it's full body or you just want to spot train and work on maybe your abs, your chest, your shoulders, your legs. You can do it all there. Your first visit's free, and they'll actually let you go through the workout, the 15-minute workout. You can decide if it's right for you. I promise you'll get results. And that 15-minute workout, the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym. Mandu, the gift of fitness. Check them out today. Again, your first visit's free. You go through it. You see if you like it. If nothing else, know that you tried. MANDUU.com. Mandu. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Jocks sent you. A lot of your texts coming in, 205-834-9450 on the Jocks text line. And Conrad, we got a few texts that are coming in. Some saying that Nick Kelly actually sounded just like Kirk Herbstreit.
See, I don't know if they mean like he sounds like Herbstreit or that he was saying the same things that Herbstreit said.
Okay.
I don't know what he was referring to. I'm assuming the sounds.
I'm usually
like
pretty good at recognizing, like, hey, your voice kind of sounds like this person. I didn't pick it up, but maybe so. Nick from Prattville, I thought this 12-team playoff was designed to prevent what happened to FSU 2 years ago from happening again. Well, it helps. I like the 16 teams. 16 teams, Conrad, quick math, out of the top 25, that would give you, what, 65, 70% of the field?
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's just like regardless of, whatever the field is, right, there's always going to be the argument for, in this case, right, would it be 17 and 18? If you go to 32 teams, there's going to be an argument for 33 and 34. I will just say this. I know a lot of people have made comparisons to, well, Alabama didn't get punished the way that this team did in the 4-team playoff era. The 12 and the 4 team are completely different. To be like, obviously in that scenario, I mean, at that time you had 5 power conferences and 4 spots in the playoff. You didn't even have room for every champion in the playoff. So, yeah, the people that are trying to make, those comparisons, it's completely different. But I'm with you. Let's go to 16. Make it happen.
Fighting Irish, more like quitting Irish. Am I right? Collins from Pell City, thank you.
People were having a lot of fun with that yesterday on social media.
Response to Nick Kelly, and it said yes. Nick Kelly's voice sounded just like Kirk Herbstreit. I thought at first, didn't know Kirk knew the 3-man front guys so well.
Well, I would say that's a compliment to Nick, then.
We'll have to do the side-by-side.
We will.
Vocal comparison. Maybe we can do that tomorrow, Conrad.
We'll get some AI to help us out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers going to go with a tryout, a workout at least, for the Indianapolis Colts. They need help backing up in their quarterback room. Fat Joe wants to know, does he have to take a snap or does he just have to be on the active roster for the Hall of Fame timer to be reset? And I think it's a snap, isn't it? Actually playing in a game?
Yes, I believe he actually has to play, not just be on the roster. But I could be wrong. But I would assume he'd have to play.
This one rolling in. Conrad's explanation is absolutely 100% correct. Everyone will be complaining that we need one or two more teams in, with no matter what the scenario is, based on one or two teams that didn't make it. People cannot be pleased. No, there's a lot of truth to that, and bumping it out. At least here, though, you can make the comparison. I do, anyways. Having the extra four teams, you have those fringe teams that are just outside. But after 16, isn't it just seems like it would be easier. It seems like you would have less debate outside having the 16 teams. But college basketball, what a lot of times that's the check mark successful season. It's making it to the Sweet 16. Why can we not have a 16 for football? Notre Dame would be in. Vanderbilt would be in. Texas would be in. Am I missing anyone?
I don't think so.
All for it. All right. Continue with the text, 205-834-9450. Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Bavacqua, speaking with the media now.
Thank you, Claire, and thanks everybody for being here on this cold, snowy Tuesday, South Bend afternoon. It's no secret. I've talked quite a bit about the CFP in the national press over the course of the last 24, 36 hours. And like Claire said, we thought this would be a great opportunity to get everybody together, people we interact with day in and day out, and answer any questions, but not just about, obviously, one of the key topics out there right now, the CFP and the process, but about all of our programs. Notre Dame, any one of our sports, kind of what's going in the college space. This is something we want to do at least once a year, just to spend time with all of you and give you an inside look of what's going on here at Notre Dame. But no secret, we were shocked, I would say mystified by what happened on Sunday. And just, where my head and heart go, and I know Marcus feels the same way, you just feel for those student athletes on our football team. As I said yesterday, as I said on Sunday, we felt we did everything we could over the course of the season. We lost our first two games. We're not hiding from that. We lost against a really good Miami team. We lost a nail-biter against Texas A&M, two great teams by a total of 4 points, and then we did everything we needed to do. We had one of the most dominant 10 games runs in the history of college football. And on top of that, we felt that the CFP committee, the ranking committee, felt the same way. You go back to that first ranking where we were 6-2 and Miami was 6-2, and they had already beaten us. And we were 10th and they were 18th. And the only thing that happened from that point forward is we both went on these amazing runs. And through no fault of our own, we wake up and find out that, we're the odd man out. We're on the outside looking in. And it's just, as I've said, all the credit in the world to the other teams that are in. They are 12 terrific teams that have won conference championships. Miami, I think the world of the program, I think it's one of the great universities in this country. Dan Radakovich is a good friend. Miami deserves to be in the CFP. Of course they do. And Alabama does as well. And you could make that argument for Texas and Vanderbilt. And you could go right on down the list. But, we were just led to believe all season long, if we took care of business, we were going to be in. And then to have that shock, that surprise on Sunday in that room with those kids who have given everything that they have since August to put themselves in that position. To be told week in and week out that you're in that position provided you win. And we certainly won when you think about these last 10 weeks. And it just boggles my mind that when we got off that plane that Sunday morning in snowy South Bend after the Stanford game, that was it. And that's not the way this season deserved to end with the performance of our football team. And I'm biased. Of course, I'm a 1,000,000% biased when it comes to Notre Dame. But you ask anybody in college football, we're one of the best teams in the country. We're one of those handful of teams that could absolutely win the national championship this year. And then standing up here today, knowing that we have 0% chance of proving that on the field is a bitter pill to swallow. But it's the situation we're in. And, what frustrates me, and I know what frustrates Marcus, is there's just no good explanation. Normally when you stand in front of these young student athletes who've poured their heart and soul, and they have limited opportunities in life to do this. You're only 18 to 22 for so long. There are only so many seasons. There are hundreds of seasons in the history of Notre Dame football, and hopefully there'll be hundreds of more seasons. But it's a finite amount of time in these kids' lives. And they put everything they had into it and positioned themselves and thought they did everything they needed to do. And it was just the ultimate gut punch to know that this team doesn't get to proceed and try to play for a national championship. So where my head is. I know, Coach Freeman, I spent most of the day Sunday with him, and he's going through the same emotions. But, you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start thinking about next season. And really now our focus is on those guys on the football team, our student athletes. What's best for them? Because they're, these are tough days for them as well. And that's a lot more important. How I feel about this is how they feel about this. So I wanted to get that, state that up front. And, when you think about Notre Dame right now, we've got a lot going on, a lot going on in the college space. This is a time of unprecedented change. Luckily for us, and because of the history of Notre Dame, we have a seat at the table in terms of talking about what's next for college sports, what's best for college sports, maybe perhaps what needs to change for college sports. So we have our eye on the national landscape about what needs to happen in college sports to preserve something that's so great. And then we're kind of hitting the ground running. Obviously, really excited about the start of our men's basketball season. Coach Shrewsbury doing an amazing job. We had an unfortunate injury, as you all saw, with Marcus, and I'm sure Micah will address that, later on today. But a great start to the season. Young talent playing unbelievably well. And on the women's side, the job Niele is doing with a different team than last year. No secret about that. Having the most talented player in the country in Hannah Hidalgo and this supporting cast, and really excited to see how that season progresses as well. In addition to all of our other programs here that are, really gearing up for an exciting winter and an exciting spring. But with that, I'd love to open it to questions and answer or try to answer anything that's on your minds.
We'll start on the right with Eric.
I don't need a mic.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I was curious, you mentioned permanent damage with the ACC. What is the next step in assessing that relationship? Where do you go from here? And what was the damage specifically?
Yeah, I would tell you, again, we have the ultimate respect for the fellow universities in the ACC. Wonderful universities with wonderful athletic programs. So it's not about the universities. It's not about Miami. I've texted back and forth with Dan Radakovich. I sent him a text last night saying, so happy you guys made it, and I hope you go deep. I think you have the talent to win it all. But what we were really surprised by and disappointed was how the ACC conference really went on a social media campaign, in my opinion, attacking our football program. Miami had done that and they didn't. I get it. All's fair. There's a great rivalry, decades-long rivalry between Notre Dame and Miami. And that's the spirit of the universities and the football programs and fandom. And that's what makes college football special, whether it's Notre Dame, Miami, Notre Dame, USC, Michigan, Ohio State. But we felt this was different, and it raised a lot of eyebrows. And, we made our feelings known that we didn't particularly understand this. And it just kind of puzzled us that a conference that's home to over 600 of our student athletes walking around this campus today, I guess chose to go down that road. I guess intellectually I understand it, but I certainly don't agree with it. And why would you attack an unbelievably important business partner of yours in football and a member of your conference in 24 other sports? I'm one person. I don't see the logic in that. I know other leaders at the university didn't see the logic in that. And the ACC is important to us, and we're important to the ACC. And think about football for a minute. Uh, those ACC teams want to play us in football. Interesting stat. Since 2014, when we started our football relationship with the ACC, if you look at stadiums, ACC games sell out roughly 23% of the time. When Notre Dame goes to an ACC site, it's 90% of the time. When you think about ratings for ACC football games when they play Notre Dame, there's a tremendous lift. I don't understand why you would go on a social media campaign to attack an important partner. Who's some of our important partners in the football space? NBC. We wouldn't do that to NBC. Now, I understand they have to stand up for their teams in football. We just think there's other ways to do it. And it has created damage. I'm not going to shy away from that. And that's just not me speaking. People a lot more important at this university than me feel the same way. So I think it has done some real damage, and I think the ACC knows that.
And my follow-up is beyond expanding at some point to 14 or 16 teams. What needs to be fixed with the process? Because you question the process, not necessarily who's in and who's out. And how do you, Pete Bavacqua, go about helping to fix that?
Yeah, there's human beings making these decisions, so they're never going to be perfect. That's understandable. But you get, with these weekly shows and weekly rankings, very strong signals are being sent. Okay, Notre Dame, in the first ranking, you are 10th at 6-2. Well, we did nothing from that point until last Sunday, but to prove to the world that we've gotten better each week, progressed each week, have the best player in the country on our team in Jeremiah Love. We've done everything from that point, not even to put into question whether we should stay at 10 or get better. To me, all the empirical data in the world suggests we should get better. So we had this starting point of being 10th, dominated the rest of the season, and are on the outside looking in. So how do you fix that? You either have a really series of defined metrics that everybody can rely on and see and know what they're going into, or you have one ranking show at the end and say, okay, here's what it is and here's why we thought. And that would have been less of a shock to the system, to our team, than what happened was. Because if you wake up every day for 5-6 weeks and say, you're in, you're in, you're in, and what you do in response to that is you win in dominant fashion, 70 points, 50 points, 49, just week in and week out. And you have Jeremiah and Jadarian, they look like they're out of the Matrix, and it just everything going well. And then you wake up on Sunday and you're in a room with these 18 to 22-year-olds who are like, all right, are we 9th? Are we 10th? Let's get to practice. Let's get going. Let's win a national championship. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. You know what? There was a game where a team went through it and 4th down. That ought to mean something. Or, well, you lost to this team in week 1 and we asked everybody to go back and watch it. Well, we don't see the logic in all of that. And it's something that has to be fixed because, I said it yesterday, we take this very seriously at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman takes this very seriously, our coaches, our student athletes, our administration. These rankings, and I said it, so I'm repeating myself, but they can't be a game of musical chairs at a 5th grade birthday party. And that's what it felt like to us. And
there you go. Pete Bavacqua, Notre Dame AD, no mention of a lawsuit. Giving you the Cliff Notes, his opening statement said he was shocked and mystified, led to believe that they were in a good spot. Says that they're biased, but absolutely one of the teams that could win the national championship, and said that the problem that he had was there was no good explanation as to why they were left out. Called it the ultimate gut punch. He was asked the next step in assessing the ACC and said that he was disappointed the conference won a social media campaign attacking Notre Dame. They felt like this was different, Pat. And he asked, why would you attack an unbelievably important business partner? Didn't see the logic in that. The ACC is good for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is good for the ACC.
Yeah, he brings out the social media campaign. It was also interesting that the ACC network aired the Hurricanes' 27-24 head-to-head victory over the Irish in the season opener. You ready for this? 8 times
Oh.
over a 3-day period. The ACC network 8 times over 3 days aired
Feels like a lot.
Miami's victory
That feels like a lot.
over Notre Dame.
You think the ACC is like, well, we had 2 good games to choose from. From everybody that played in our league.
That's something.
You happen to be involved with the best one.
So 8 times over 3 days, they do a replay of that game. So it's fascinating.
I can understand it from the Notre Dame side. Again, I would have no issue if they were in the 12-team playoff, but we know that can't happen. And if you want to blame James Madison and Tulane, don't blame them. Blame the folks that voted for the structure and how the teams are going to be selected.
They also
Blame
said,
them.
or he said in the presser, that he's had multiple conversations with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey since Sunday afternoon, conversations centered around the future CFP format.
Well, they're buddies. You remember when that horrible thing happened in New Orleans before the playoff game?
Yeah.
Greg Sankey saying that he had been constant communication with Pete Bavacqua and that they had a really good relationship. That would be interesting.
Yep.
Hey, we'll take Notre Dame.
Sure.
Right? SEC?
Absolutely. I mean, we took Texas. We need another arrogant fan base, right?
Yeah. We need another entitled fan base.
So, Molly, we asked a Twitter poll question today. In regards to, I guess, whiny fan bases.
Yeah. Which
Did
non?
Nebraska make it?
No, Pat, they did not.
Oh.
That's a
I
sobbing.
don't think we're whiny.
They're sobbing.
They're
We're more
sobbing.
just sad.
Sobbing. It's just constant
Yeah,
flow of tears.
Just constant tears. But anyway, which non-SEC college football program comes off as the most pretentious and the whiniest? Is it Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, or USC?
I haven't looked at it since earlier this morning, but I got a feeling this is a runaway.
Yeah, it's not even close. So Notre Dame is winning with 87%.
87%.
The next closest is Ohio State with 7%. USC only has 1%. Michigan has about 5%.
Oh, wow.
Not even close.
That's amazing. Not really. Kind of saw that coming.
How long, if this continues, how long? Somebody's got to release the holiday edition Notre Dame wine, right?
That'd be good.
The Bavacqua Reserve.
But and maybe it'll be answered. But if I was sitting there, I would say, okay, you keep talking about how this relationship with the ACC has been damaged. How has it been damaged?
I guess just you don't feel like the ACC is – you're getting treated like the stepchild, the redheaded stepchild, and the ACC ultimately doesn't view you as an equal partner with the other member institutions that are full-fledged in every single sport. That's the way I see it. I think the feelings would hurt. Trust has been – there's a trust issue now, I think, with Notre Dame and also with the ACC. We'll continue to talk about it. We continue here from Social Taco. The Christmas party has begun. Gringo is here. Lots of other folks have filtered in as well. We're up top. Join us here in the square in Homewood. We continue the Tuesday edition of Three Man Front on Jocks.
The listeners are having a Christmas party up here on the Taco Terrace. It's kind of like, what would you call it, Molly? Like a potluck dessert table?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's some lot of really good desserts, some fudge, as we know. I think
Homemade
there's-
fudge
yeah.
and some cookies. And,
I think there's some sausage balls as well.
yeah, so come and enjoy. a
Ooh, they have
wonderful meal
sausage
here at-
balls?
Yeah, at Social
Mhm.
Taco. And then there's a dessert table ready for you. So come on by and see us. I want to remind everybody about APS. For more than 4 decades, Alabama Professional Services, they've been your trusted choice for pest control, termite protection, lawn care, fertilization, and so much more. They're certified statewide teams at APS. They're experts, friendly, efficient, and reliable. Call them today at 205-951-9717. So whether you're looking to safeguard your home from pests or keep your lawn healthy and green, APS can deliver proven solutions backed by dependable customer service, serving Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville, surrounding communities. Call them today to request your free, no-obligation estimate. That's 205-951-9717, or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
We continue here from Social Taco. Got a good group of folks here for our Social Taco Jocks Tuesday Christmas get-together. But if you're not going to join us upstairs, the dining room is open. Enjoy the mix and match combination tacos. You want to go with a burrito, Mexican pizza, you can do that as well. All kinds of different options, even handheld sandwiches here at Social Taco. SocialTaco.bar for more information. If you can't get it in before we leave at 2 o'clock, you can enjoy the half-off happy hour, 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. SocialTaco.bar once again for more info.
Okay, so I want your input on this. I have just gotten my ballot as I'm a voter on the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year.
Okay.
And I have been given these possible names on my ballot to who to vote for.
Fire away.
For Coach of the Year. Bob Chesney,
Okay.
Kirk Signetti, Ryan Day, Mike Elko, Tony Elliott, Marcus Freeman, Clark Lee, Jerry Mack from Kennesaw State,
Ooh.
Joey McGuire, Jim Mora from UConn, Kirby Smart, John Sumrall.
Kurt Signetti.
Okay. Molly,
Not only to do it last year, but to follow it up and be better this year, it's Kurt Signetti.
I would say either Sig or Jerry Mack.
okay.
I mean, they had 2 wins last year.
Conrad, you got a thought or two?
Oh, I'm going Clark Lee for that one. I think, again, you can call it the SEC bias or whatever. I think he should have won it last year. He had an argument to win it last year, but they won 10 games at Vanderbilt.
So the good news about my ballot is I will rank 1 through 5. And then they will obviously kind of, get that lowered down and then vote again probably in about another week.
Just to put it in perspective, though, if you take you would have to take 5 Tom Allen seasons to equal what Kurt Signetti has done in 2 seasons in the win column.
That's amazing.
Very
Did Signetti win it last year? Or did Ryan Day win it last year? Because I will say, and maybe this is a flaw in my voting, I assumed Signetti won it last year. If he didn't win it last year, he deserves to win it this year. I just had assumed that he was the guy last year.
Now, Clark Lee is that's a strong vote.
That's a good one.
That would be my next one, Conrad.
I was about to say, it's one of those things where
Because he
there's
did
not a
what
wrong
Signetti
answer.
did, but just on a smaller scale, not getting into the college football playoff. But Vanderbilt actually improved after the, hey, look at me year.
Oh, yeah.
Is this for real?
Yeah, Kurt Signetti won last year.
Okay, then, yeah, I'd give it to Clark. I know that's, it shouldn't affect how you vote, but I'd give it to Clark
Well,
Lee
and
this year.
Signetti, he's done it now with 2 different quarterbacks. You had Rourke last year, and then you bring in Mendoza this year. And they've both done a great job.
Well, just who would have thought that, Fernando Mendoza would be the best transfer quarterback out of the whole lot? Or really the best quarterback in the whole country. It's crazy.
So I need to do 1 through 5. So I'll come up with obviously Kurt Signetti's going to be in that group of 5.
Give Marcus Freeman the pity vote, Pat. They need something.
Give Brett Bielema a vote. Remember that Illinois team that was going to be in the college football playoff?
Okay, as I'm eliminating this, obviously I'm not voting Jim Mora. No offense to Jim, but compared to the other candidates, no offense to Jerry Mack.
No.
I know Kennesaw State didn't win a game last year, and here they are as the Conference USA champions. But
Oh, man.
I'm not putting Jerry in there above Signetti. Would you keep Chesney in
Yeah.
from James Madison?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I will peruse this and I will submit my vote momentarily. I appreciate you guys. Scott Hamilton's going to join us next here on Three Man Front. It is 11:38 here at Jocks. Three-man front. We're live at Social Taco. Listener Christmas party going on as we speak. Come up here and enjoy some great Social Taco Mexican cuisine. And then, yes, the listeners have brought their own homemade desserts. So come on and be a part
Don
of
broke
the fun.
out the mistletoe yet?
Not yet. Sure he will, though. Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, good friend of the program, has been a longtime columnist in the Carolinas. He's also a Heisman voter. He's an AP Top 25 voter. Scott Hamilton joins us on the program. Season's greetings, Scott. I hope you're well.
I'm doing great, and just real quick, and I know we got a lot to get to. A couple of observations. One, this is like the fourth time you've had me on, and I get to hear everybody else have delicious tacos, but I don't get to have them here.
Well, you know
So
what?
that
You were supposed to
You
come
have
through
been
Birmingham.
invited, Scott.
Yeah, you were supposed to come through Birmingham. Was it early part of this season or at some point, and your trip got canceled, and we were going to treat you to lunch?
Yeah,
but-
I keep bringing the sign in hopes it says, please welcome Scott Hamilton to Social Taco. Paid a lot of money to get this
yeah,
sign made.
it's really well done.
I'm tired of bringing you in here and you're not showing up.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then number two, why am I always the warm-up act for Dimitri?
Well, I'm
Well.
glad you understand that you are the warm-up act. So as long as you understand your place in the world, then we're okay.
It's just where the states fall. South Carolina being just underneath North Carolina.
You're the little brother of North Carolina, so that's why.
You know what? I spend so much time in North Carolina that I can't deny that. And if you got up around like between Charlotte and Rock Hill, you can really feel the angst and the anxiety. But we'll chop that up another time.
All right. So let's get to Sunday. You're an Associated Press top 25 voter, and I was following it very closely this college football season because you guys were right on it in regards to it was eerie how the College Football Playoff Committee was almost taking the cue from whatever you guys were voting in the AP Top 25. So when the final AP Top 25 regular season vote came out Sunday morning, and then you saw what the CFP did, how shocked were you that they were not in balance with each other?
I'm not shocked. Not shocked at all, really, Pat. I mean, they actually used some common sense to put together this field. And I really don't have a problem with the way it worked out. I really don't. I'm shocked. I'm shocked by how Notre Dame is behaving. I mean, I am and I'm not. I mean, we all know how entitled they are, how up in their feelings they can be. But I didn't know it would be to this extreme. And I gotta be honest with you guys. I think there's something really big going to come of this. I think we've hit a Rubicon now, a point of no return for Notre Dame, where they're going to do something pretty seismic because they are that pissed off.
With the result that we got from Notre Dame and them being so ticked off, Scott, what do you think that this maybe prompts the College Football Playoff Committee to do? Do they change the way that they address we as the media and college football fans on a week-to-week basis? Do we get less transparency? Because that's something that we beg for, right? We've wanted more transparency. In this case, it's transparency that seemed to get Hunter Yurachek and that committee in trouble.
Is it really transparent, though? I mean, he sounds like he's a hostage every week when he comes on, you know. And you know, if we read his eyes, the way he's blinking, he's actually telling us the truth in Morse code of what happened, and we're missing the message. I don't know. I mean, we all know that those weekly shows are so redundant, but there's so much money tied to it, and that's what all this comes down to. And I know it's even redundant for me to say that, but at the end of the day, the committee picked Miami over Notre Dame because the ACC is one of its partners, and Notre Dame has its wagon hitched to NBC. I'll die on that hill, believing that. And to your point, and I'm sorry I'm deviating off your question a little bit, the only change that I see coming would be the automatic reaction would be to expand the field. 16, we don't have this problem. Other than that, I mean, what can they change? They did right by fixing that seating issue from last year, which was I don't know why, and I'll throw up my hand too. I'm to blame. You're to blame. Everybody's to blame. Why we didn't see an issue with the way they were seating things last year, but we learned from it and they fixed it. The only way you're going to fix this is to just create a few more spots, and then it doesn't happen. Because I truly believe the G5 needs a seat at the table. I'm tickled to death there's two G5 in this. Tickled to death. But
Well, you and I will have a private conversation. We disagree on that front, but that's okay. Friends can disagree. All right, so let's talk about the ACC response. Jim Phillips yesterday, he releases the statement. He basically says, "Look, we're trying to take care of everybody in this conference. Not only the fact that Notre Dame plays in 24 other sports except for football, but we have a responsibility to those other schools." And Bavacqua keeps talking about that, severe damage has been done to this relationship. So moving forward, what kind of severity are we talking about here? I mean, is just like a tongue lashing from the head father at Notre Dame University, or are we talking about real action here by the university?
Well, let's break this down one step at a time. First of all, good on Jim Phillips for not letting Notre Dame cut him off at the knees.
Right.
He inherited that Faustian deal, and it's like a Faustian deal where it's so one-sided. He inherited that from John Swafford. So good on Jim Phillips for standing up for his conference. I wouldn't be surprised, and I try my best to keep my finger on the pulse of these things. I wouldn't be surprised if now Notre Dame says, you know what, either screw y'all, we don't need you for anything. We were independent for 8 billion years. We'll just go back to be completely independent. And don't worry about those 5 ACC games we were playing every year. That was helping your TV ratings. That was helping your strength of schedule. No, we're going to do our own thing, and we'll play more games against a BYU. We'll go play more games against the Big 12. You don't worry about that. Or does this open the door for Notre Dame to say, you know what, we do need to be in the conference, but it ain't going to be those guys. Big Ten, what do you think of it? And you can't tell me that Tony Petitti wouldn't immediately work a deal to accept Notre Dame into the conference.
Scott Hamilton joining us here on Three Man Front. All of our guests joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I did want to ask you stuff with the state of South Carolina. We realize that Shane Beamer, very close, if it hasn't been already named, that Kendall Briles is his top target for offensive coordinator. Dabo Sweeney trying to regroup. Give us the state of those two football buildings and what they potentially could look like next season and even beyond.
Shane's got to nail this hire. This will be his 4th offensive coordinator in what? It'll be his 6th season. That's concerning. That's concerning. And, you could say, oh, well, this guy left on his own, and that was the case with Dow Loggins, but the rest of them were either outright fired or left because they knew they were going to get fired. Marcus Satterfield. He's got to nail this. And his next job is to try to convince Lamar Sellers to stick around, that Kendall Briles is the guy who can help him actually realize all of his unlimited potential. Otherwise, that dude is either going to transfer somewhere else, no matter what they say, or he's going to go on to the NFL. There's no reason to stick around and get beat up again like he did this year. And for the first time, Shane Beamer's on the hot seat. And there was no way he was going to get fired this year with Jeremiah Donati being a first-year commissioner in the SEC, or athletic director, rather. But next year, if they don't win, and I'm not even going to say bowl game, I'm going to say they got to win 8-9 games. I think he's cooked. Now, as far as up the road at Clemson, reality has hit Dabo in the face. And he's even saying now, we've got to get transfers. He admitted it this week. I've got to get transfers. We've got to get transfers to complement our roster. That's just how it is now. And that actually makes me optimistic for Clemson, because now that he finally realizes that he cannot win that fight, that he cannot operate the way he always had and be successful to their standard, they have the resources. And he has I truly think that I truly think also he's got some coaching issues he's got to clean up too. But I think with him admitting that, that's going to clear the path for Clemson to again be a power in the ACC and relevant nationally.
Scott, can you hold real quick? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the Heisman Trophy that you are a voter for. That is coming up next here on Three Man Front. Scott Hamilton, longtime columnist in the Carolinas. He's an AP Top 25 voter, also a Heisman voter, and that's what I wanted to spend the next couple of minutes talking to you. I understand that as a Heisman voter, Scott, you cannot disclose who you voted for, but being a Heisman voter for some time now, how difficult was this year's ballot, in your opinion?
It was difficult. It was difficult. There are so many different things you have to weigh. And before we get too deep into this conversation, I want to say good on the people who run the Heisman for finally adjusting the calendar. You know, back in the day,
Right.
you used to get your ballot back in November. And a lot of guys, especially the older guys, they would go ahead and fill it out and mail it in and then be done with it. And that would be a real disservice to the guys who were still playing, particularly the guys who were playing in the conference championship games. My greatest example was when Lamar Jackson won. And I had Lamar Jackson as my All-American quarterback. I mean, he was absolutely fantastic. But I voted for Deshaun Watson that year because I thought what he did in the ACC championship was so Heisman-like. But this year, to your point, I mean, all I'll say is this. I flipped 1 and 2 at about 11 o'clock on Saturday night. We'll leave it at that. You're going to figure it out from there probably.
I think I understand. Yep. Crystal clear.
And the one who's now number 2 was not playing Saturday.
So
there you go.
Clear it up for anybody who doesn't know. You're a Heisman voter. Are we looking at most outstanding player? Are we looking at
Most
the most to
deserving?
their team, most deserving? How does Scott Hamilton look at it?
I actually consider a lot of things. I mean, stats obviously are very important. How your team performs is very important. But when you think about identifying the most outstanding player in college football, you got to look at a lot of other ancillary factors. How do you carry yourself? How important were you to the fortunes of your team? Could they win without you? You know, I think back, and you guys will get a kick out of this. When Baker Mayfield won the Heisman, I didn't have him 1, 2, or 3 on my ballot. I
Really?
couldn't do it. I could not do it. I could not put someone who sportsmanship is the number one data point in character when it comes to the Heisman. I mean, you could literally go to the Heisman website and you look at the criteria and it's at the top of the board. It's flag planting, taunting, Kansas, for God's sakes, before Kansas was even halfway relevant. I thought it was so unbecoming. I mean, when you think of the Heisman, you think about Roger Staubach, you know?
Yeah.
When you think of the Heisman, you think about John Cappelletti. You think about Doug Flutie. And the way he was behaving, I thought, was just atrocious. And it's kind of funny. I went on Feinbaum's show to talk about it. And, you know, Paul, you know, he didn't agree, he didn't disagree. But we're on the air, and suddenly my phone starts blowing up, and somehow my number got circulated. I was the most hated man in Oklahoma for about a week and a half. It was crazy.
That is Scott Hamilton. You can follow his work there in the Carolinas. Just a great, outstanding columnist and a good friend of the program. Scott, happy holidays. It's great to talk to you. I hope you and your family have a wonderful season of greetings, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey, I appreciate y'all in 2 words. Shrimp tacos.
There you go.
Shrimp tacos.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks,
Catch
Scott.
y'all later.
Thank you so much. Scott joined us on the Higginbotham hotline. Man, we got a lot of
Where
dignitaries
was Scott
showing
when
up.
Johnny Manziel got the vote?
Yeah, no kidding.
Sportsmanship?